Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of USPBL Baseball. My name is Rich Borland, and in just a moment, my broadcasting partner for tonight's contest, Mr. Leo Goldman, will join me. As we move on to week number 11 of the USPBL season, there is tons to talk about. We just had our second player this season picked up by a major league organization, with Logan Gillespie joining the Milwaukee Brewers last week. That is the second Eastside Diamond Hopper to be called up this season, with Tyler Palm joining the Minnesota Twins organization just over a month ago. As the second half of the season continues on, so does the race to first place. The standings all season long have been neck and neck coming into today's action, and the story remains the same. We have all four of our teams even at the top of the standings. The Hoppers, Mammoths, and Unicorns all have a 13-13 record coming into the weekend, while the Beavers sit in the same spot as the other three teams with a 12-12 record at 500. Now, some of you might say that the evenness in the league shows that no team has really taken charge, but that's exactly what we want and exactly what we were hoping for coming into the season. The team who, of course, ends up in first place when the regular season is all said and done will automatically be in the championship game to face the winner of the semifinal game, which, of course, the winner of the initial play-in game between the third and fourth place team will eventually go on to play the second place team. The winner of that game, so on and so forth, goes to play the team that ends up in first place on Championship Sunday. Now, looking on to tonight's festivities, we have another Winning Wednesday at Jimmy John's Field, but it's our first guys' night out at the ballpark. Now, guys, if you're listening, whether you're on the YouTube broadcast or you're down in the bathrooms or up in the suites here at Jimmy John's Field, this guys' night out ticket for $30, right? You can receive a grandstand ticket with a buffet and drinks in the AAA clubhouse. But not only that, with the purchase of that $30 ticket, there's also an opportunity to get a golf outing trip for four in, I believe it is somewhere on the west side of the state. But you get a all-you-can-eat food, drinks, a ticket to a baseball game, and an opportunity to get a voucher to get a foursome for a golf outing at a pretty prestigious golf course. But not only that, there's also a Pong tournament. Now, we're not over at any university or anything like that, but down in our right field patio this afternoon for $20, you can enter our Pong contest, and the prizes galore out there in the right field patio. But looking onto the matchup we have here tonight, in between the lines, the Utica Unicorns are facing off against the Westside Woolly Mammoths. On the season, the 8 battles have been close in total, but the Unicorns have had the slight upper hand, winning 5 of the 8 games and outscoring the Mammoths 34-31. Not only that, but the Unicorns have won 6 of the last 8 games played between the two. Now, the arms on the mound for tonight, it'll be Josh Mason of the Westside Woolly Mammoths and Kyle Allegas of the Utica Unicorns. Now, Allegas on the year, a 3-2 record with a 3.48 ERA with 1 start and 7 relief appearances under his belt. 20 2/3 innings pitched. He's allowed 9 runs on 13 hits, 13 walks, 13 strikeouts, a couple of 13s across the board. And then Josh Mason on the other end for the Westside Woolly Mammoths. How about this, Mr. Goldman? A 5-2 record with a 1.80 ERA, 8 starts, 1 relief appearance on the year. He's allowed 11 earned runs on 38 hits and 55 innings pitched. But how about this? 11 walks to 45 strikeouts. Very impressive stuff from Josh Mason. Now, we'll bring in Mr. Goldman to dive in a little bit more to our pitching matchup for tonight.
Well, Rich, you touched on it already. Tonight is going to be a marquee matchup. And, I mean, these are the type of games that, the younger fans who love to see the slugfest, you might not like tonight. But you look at Josh Mason, and he has, as you touched on, 11 walks, 45 strikeouts. When he gets 2 strikes on a hitter, his approach is just so tenacious. He's got that four-seamer. He's got that circle change, and his cutter-slider mix has been terrific this year. You look at batters who are just getting absolutely fooled by that pitch, and you really see why it's his 2-strike pitch. The best part to me about Josh Mason, when he gets 2 strikes, he's not looking to waste a pitch. He wants to keep his pitch count down, just as every other pitcher does. So when he gets to 2 strikes, he says, all right, I'm coming right at you. Here's my best stuff. Let's see if you can handle it. But Kyle Allegas, in that same token, is the same way. You mentioned he has 13 hits in nearly 21 innings. But the main thing to look at, in every outing that he's had this year, no more than 3 hits. The guy locks in every time he steps on the rubber, and every time his foot hits the back of that slab, you know he's ready to bring his A game.
Good stuff right there, Mr. Goldman. So it's Mason versus Allegas on the night. And it looks as if that man, Mr. Mason, giving the fist bump to Wooly, the Westside Woolly Mammoths mascot, as he heads out to the rubber. And that means we are getting ready for first pitch here at Jimmy John's Field. But now we'll head down to the field for our nation's anthem. And when we come back, first pitch from Jimmy John's Field on this winning Wednesday here at Guys Night Out at the ballpark. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, our nation's anthem, which means baseball coming up next here at Jimmy John's Field from gorgeous Utica, Michigan. Beautiful day for baseball here this evening. Rob Lothian, our home plate umpire. Frank Barkett, our first base umpire for tonight. And we mentioned it's Kyle Alias on the mound for the Unicorns, and out there on the rubber for the Mammoths right now, Mr. Josh Mason with that 1.80 ERA and a 5-2 record in the 8 starts and 1 relief appearance on the season. Let's hand it over to Mr. Goldman for the starting lineup for the Unicorns that'll be facing off against Mr. Mason here tonight.
Well, leading off is going to be Dan Ward, and I promise you it's going to be over 100 times we say this guy's name tonight because, I mean, he's the star of the show, and he always is. Batting second is going to be Chris Conley, and he'll be doing the catching tonight. In left field and batting third will be Carter Grote. Batting fourth and designated hitter today will be Dan Williams. Batting fifth and playing second will be Austin Ledoux. Batting sixth and playing right field will be Jimmy Latona. Batting seventh and doing the first base duties today for the Unicorns will be Dan Elliott. Batting eighth will be the shortstop Bryn Martinez, and rounding out that lineup is going to be Griffin Newer, and he will be in center field tonight.
So a new name in Griffin Newer, making only his second outing on the season for the Utica Unicorns. He'll round out this starting lineup, and out in the field for the Mammoths of Thomas at second base, I should say, number 2, Jalen Lawson, and then over there at first base, number 25, Jackson Smith. Rounding out the battery for the Westside Woolly Mammoths behind the dish today, protecting Mr. Rob Lothian, is number 20, Jake Barbie. So a gorgeous night for baseball. Josh Mason versus Kyle Aligas to start. Josh Mason will be mixing in the 4-seam fastball, the circle change, the cutter slider, and the curveball. First pitch at 7:03, a few minutes above schedule, and it's 79 degrees here in Utica, Michigan. Dan Ward, Chris Conley, and Carter Grote due to start up this lineup for these Utica Unicorns. And Mason starts off Ward with a pitch in the zone, one of them out of it, 1-1 the count. Not enough that you can say about this young man up at the plate, Mr. Dan Ward, as he holds off on that inside two-seam fastball. Ward with a .323 batting average, good enough for second in the league. 32 hits, though. That's tied for first with the guy who's batting two batters behind him, and Carter Grote, as the 2-1 pitch called strike on the outside corner. But 99 at-bats for Ward. That's third in the league. 15 runs scored, tied for fourth, and he's played in every single game for these Utica Unicorns. Just him and Grote that have been in all 26 games here for the Corns, as that one misses the zone away, and Ward has worked himself into a full count against Mason to start. Mason, the payoff pitch, fastball down Broadway. Ward fights it off into right. Underneath it, looks like he's got a beat on it, and he does. Drew Kitson makes the catch for out number one.
And you see that's the first full count on the first full count on the first batter of the game. So good job by Dan Ward to drive up the pitch count already, and that's what you're going to have to do against a guy like Mason who, I mean, you got to get his pitch count up or you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, Mason back on that tremendous outing that was on June the 21st. He had just gotten outmatched as Conley looks at called strike one. Back on that June 21st game against the Utica Unicorns, he faced off against Cody Brown, went the complete game, but allowed the solo shot in the home half of the eighth inning off of Chris Allen, and Cody Brown outpitched him by just enough, got the complete game shutout against the Westside Woolly Mammoths. But this Josh Mason fellow, he can pitch with the best of them, as he's got Conley ahead in the count 0-2 here. The wind-up 0-2 pitch. Conley hits this one high and deep out to right center field, but it will stay in the park, and Mr. Kitson staying busy out there to start this ball game. 2 up, 2 down, both via the fly out to right.
And you notice that at bat only took 3 pitches. That is the prototypical Mason at bat right there. You get the guy down 0-2, you give him something that he can hit, but not something that he's going to be able to hit out of the ballpark. Now, granted, he did hit it nearly to the track, but as they say, close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
320 down right, 395 down center, 315 down left. Carter Grote, the batter now. And Grote tied with Ward also in the runs scored with 15. That's tied for fourth. Grote with the second most doubles in the season with 9 of them. He's behind the Beavers' Jack Haranek, who won the USPBL Player of the Week last week. Grote on the 0-2 pitch. Soft ground ball hit to the left side. The stretch from Jackson Smith holds the ball, and that is a 1-2-3 inning to start this one off. That's exactly what Josh Mason had in mind, and the 5-3 putout is recorded. 1-2-3 inning for the Mammoths as we head to the home half of the first. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland and Leo Goldman with you. We're through a half inning of play, and if you're just joining us, you didn't miss much other than Josh Mason doing his part. Gets a 1-2-3 top of the first inning on 2 flyouts to Kitson and right, and then a ground out to Andrew Dundon at the hot corner. It'll be Jackson Smith, Ethan Whisker, and Brandon Cuddy to start off for the Westside Woolly Mammoths. Kyle Olagus out there for his second start of his USPBL season, 9th overall appearance on the rubber. And Smith on the season batting .273 as he hits this 1-0 pitch out into center field. A routine fly ball for the newcomer Griffin Newer, and he makes the catch on the second pitch of the frame. Another good start here for the starting pitcher, 1 up and 1 down.
I mean, how does it get much better than that? Well, the only way it gets better than that is with 1 pitch, but, an easy, quick start to the game for Olagus, and, we'll see how he faces off against Whisker, who has done pretty well in his second year with the Mammoths so far.
If you didn't hear in the pregame show, Olagus with that 3.48 ERA with a 3-2 record coming into today's action. 20 2/3 innings pitched, and he's allowed 8 earned runs on 13 hits. How about this? 13 walks and 13 strikeouts. Ethan Whisker, meanwhile, standing in for the first time today, looks at 2 straight. Both of them hit the zone. Whisker, though, on the season, the 4th best batting average in the league as it sits at .309. That ball in the dirt. Whisker holds off, brings the count to 1-2. But Whisker with 8 doubles on the season, good for 3rd in the league. He, as well as Drew Kitson, the only 2 Mammoths to play in all 26 of their games. So 2 guys per squad that have participated in every single game this year. Whisker also tied for 3rd with 16 runs scored and 4th in the league with 97 at-bats. But the big kicker, 30 hits on the year, which is 2nd behind, of course, Carter Grote and Dan Ward.
And not only that, he's a very, very patient hitter. He strikes out at a clip of about 1 in every 8 at-bats. But I'll tell you what, he does not get cheated. You're not going to throw him a 0-2 fastball that's at his eyeballs. He's not swinging at that.
This ball's swung on. This one's driven out to left. You can't forget about it. Over the wall and over the fence behind the wall. Ethan Whisker, my goodness, home run number 4 on the year. And that one gives the Mammoths a 1-0 lead.
Like I told you, he's not going to get cheated. And you know what? It was an 0-2 count. The count went to 3-2. And Olagus figured, you know what, I'll try and sneak one by him. I don't think so, says Ethan Whisker, and it's a 1-0 lead for the Mammoths.
Tough start there for Olagus. But, I mean, Whisker, one of the most talented hitters in this league, and, he worked the count full. You imagine from Olagus you're going to be seeing a strike, and that's exactly what was delivered. Whisker wasted no time, took a big cut, and has given the Mammoths the 1-0 lead. Olagus back to work he goes. This ball hit high and deep, not as far as Whiskers had, but still some carry on it. Underneath it in right field, though, is Jimmy Latona, and that is good enough for out number 2. Cuddy down on pitch number 1. That'll bring it up for Andrew Dundon.
And lucky for Olagus, it's a solo homer. There was nobody on. It took about 6 pitches to get there, but the next batter only takes 1 pitch to get out. He's still keeping his pitch count low, and if he's going to go deeper into games, that's what you look for, is for him to keep his pitch count low in the early innings.
The pitch count continues to stay low, but this ball flies into left field down the line. Carter Grote miscues it, but that a slide-in double for Dundon. 2 out hits. They are crucial. They are critical. They mean a lot, and we'll see if Dundon can get driven in here by Lawson, who's been playing well as of late.
I'll tell you what, the guy coming up to the plate right now is my pick for, if you're going to pick a guy.
And you know what? We can right now. There was only 3 batters for the Unicorns.
If you're going to pick a guy to go yard, it's this guy right here. I mean, to borrow a phrase from legendary broadcaster Tom Brenneman, when this guy hits the ball, it is flat-out buggy whip.
So Dundon out there at second base in scoring position. Jalen Lawson coming up to the plate. Looks at a breaking ball that misses high to start here. And there's 2 different swings that you see coming out of Jalen Lawson. The one where he tries to hit it 500 feet, and then the protective pitch where he just tries to put it in play. There is no in-between. And as he looks at called strike 1, 2 breaking balls thrown to him here to start. You wonder if he'll go with the fastball now.
Oh, yeah. And I'll tell you who Lawson reminds me a lot of after the 1-1.
This ball popped into left center field. Looks to be shallow. Grote underneath it calls off his center fielder, Griffin Newer. And that is the 3rd and final out. We are through an inning here at Jimmy John's Field. Mammoths out in front by 1 on that solo shot from Whisker. We head to the 2nd. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland and Leo Goldman with you. Dan Williams, Austin Ledoux, Jimmy Latona, your batters for Utica. To start off this top of the second inning, if you're just joining us, Ethan Whisker, the only product to put runs on the board to start this one, a one-out home run in the home half of the first inning, and it got out in a hurry as it crawled over that left field wall. And the Mammoths take the 1-0 lead into this second inning. Dan Williams, the DH, Austin Ledoux, the second baseman, and Jimmy Latona, the right fielder, due up. Josh Mason with 12 pitches in that first frame, 9 of them for strikes, and he has been on this entire night thus far, but it's clearly early, and you need to get your best stuff against these three guys who have some pop under their belt. And look at that. The 1-0 pitch to Williams, taken the opposite way, and he's thinking about second, but will retreat to first as that one was a little misplayed by Tommy Fiesel, but the leadoff single is recorded for Williams, and the Unicorns are threatening here to start the second.
And Williams with a very good job of hitting right there. I mean, he saw that he wasn't exactly going to get a ball that he could pull, so he said, you know what, I'll slap it to left field, get myself on, and he almost was able to get to second on the slight error in left, but obviously it does not go down as an error with no advance by Williams.
So Williams over there at first. Austin Ledoux now standing in for the Corns. Ledoux out of Hastings, Minnesota, and comes to us from Grand Valley State University. College product as he looks at called strike one to begin this at-bat. Mason with the 1.80 ERA coming into play today. The 0-1 pitch, the 75-mile-an-hour, looked to be circle changeup out of that right hand of Mason. You'll see him throw that a lot here tonight, and especially when he gets ahead of these hitters early.
And then, yet again, a first pitch strike to Ledoux, and he's got a 0-2. 4 out of 5 batters in the game so far for the Unicorns have faced 2 strike counts.
So Ledoux down on the count 0-2. He'll have to take that 2-strike approach, try and take something to right as the shadows start to play a role in this one. The 84-mile-an-hour fastball up and inside, and Ledoux can't do anything with it. Chases after it, and that is good enough for out number 1.
And, I mean, what did we talk about in the pregame show, Rich? This guy isn't going to mess around. He gets 2 strikes on you, he's going at you. That's exactly what he did right there, and boom, there's your first strike out of the game.
And Mason will take it. Ledoux not an easy out to get by any stretch. Here's another one of those guys that is tough to retire. Jimmy Latona, first pitch swinging in his first at-bat. Rolls one over to the foul territory down that third base line where the Mammoths dugout stands. Latona, the USPBL Player of the Week 2 weeks ago, mentioned how Jack Haranek of the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers earning that this week as Latona ready for the 0-1 for Mason. Mason, the leg kick, the fastball in on the hands, and like you said, Leo, he is not messing around. And not only does he get ahead of these guys quickly, but you can just tell he makes them uncomfortable. He starts them off inside, and, you know, he really doesn't stray away from it.
And the worst part, if you're a hitter facing this guy, he has his own rhythm. He's not going to let you change his rhythm in any way. And people say, oh, the rhythm thing is overrated. Really? Well, watch what he's doing right here.
The 0-2 in the dirt. Good try there from the right-hander. Latona not catching tonight, but does have some experience as a catcher. Has a great eye up there at the plate. He's been hit the most by pitches in this league with 9 hit by pitches. That's the category that he leads here offensively. Not necessarily the category you want to lead, but right on cue? No, not a hit by pitch.
It sounded from up here, it sounded like he got wood on that one. But get this. I mean, 25% of his at-bats are strikeouts. So you're telling me when he goes down 1-2, we're not all thinking the same thing? I mean, I can tell you what Josh Mason's thinking about right here, and it's not about giving up a 2-run homer.
The count 1-2. Mason with the slow look over there to Williams at first. Looked to be that curveball that misses away. And Latona's worked the count 2-2. Wind blowing out a little bit towards left field, but not a ton. That one that Whisker had hit on a line was getting out either way. Mason, the kick, the push, fastball inside. That one missing a tad low, it looked to be. Looked good in terms of left to right, but home plate umpire Rob Lothian, the best view in the house in terms of making a judgment call. In terms of the best view in the house, there's nowhere better than when we're sitting right here in the press box. Mason He's got the full count against Latona. Advantage looks to be Mason. This ball popped up. If it stays in the field of play, it will be an out. Over there is the catcher, Mr. Barbie, and he runs into the brick wall. Oh, no. We are going to take some time here, but Barbie gave it everything he got, and he was not thinking about anything in front of him except catching that baseball. And Barbie's a tough kid. He's going to end up staying in this game no matter what. I know that he can handle it with the best of them, and that was a scary sight for a second.
That was, and I mean, that wall doesn't give anything. When he hit that one, that was hard impact, and he went right back down. But like you said, he's tough. He's going to get back up. It doesn't matter if he has a concussion right now. He's getting right back up, and he's staying in this game. But, man, that's a hard hit. And that's one that you kind of get your bell rung, to say the least. Those walls down there aren't very supportive.
Great view, though, at our diamond tables. Did you know this, Leo? If you're sitting right behind home plate, only 37 feet away from home plate if you're sitting in those diamond tables. Closer than the pitcher is to home plate. You don't see that in any other professional ballpark across the country, as Latona goes after the payoff pitch from Mason, and he works the long at-bat, but in the end, Mason gets his second consecutive strikeout, and after the leadoff single from Williams, Ledoux and Latona have been retired, and now Mr. Dan Elliott stands in with 1 out and 2 outs.
Dan Elliott, I mean, we talk about him all the time. Sorry, I should say you talk about him all the time. But, I mean, this guy is a leader in the clubhouse, and you look back to his college days at Mercyhurst as we wait on the first pitch from Mason. It's outside. I mean, you look back at his college days, he was one of the leaders.
To be successful in this great game of baseball, but when you can do it at the higher levels, got to give credit to where it is needed. The Willoughby, Ohio native looking at 2 straight, and something we haven't seen from Mason all night long, a 2-0 count to start here against the left-hander. Mason, the kick, the push, 2-seamer, gets enough of that outside corner. Elliott not a fan of the call, but either way, he's still out in front of this one. But when you're pitching or when you're hitting against a guy like Mason, it's not easy to feel comfortable.
And I'll tell you why Elliott has a problem with that. Those first 3 pitches were nearly all in the same location.
As that one right about the same spot. Elliott doing his best to take that outside pitch the other way, but the way that Mason is pitching, you mentioned it earlier, not good contact off of these pitches, and that was a prime example right there.
Exactly, and the first 3 pitches were all nearly in the same location. So you're telling me that a home plate umpire, Rob Lothian's going to call the first 2 a ball and the third one a strike? If I'm a batter, I definitely have a beef with that. If you're going to call it a strike, call all 3 of them a strike. If you're going to call it a ball, call all 3 of them a ball.
It's a game of inches that it is, Mr. Goldman. The breaking ball this time, it's going to land in nearly the same exact spot, but a lot better contact on it from Elliott there. He waited on it, but just a little bit too much.
And now with the count 3-2, which, by the way, 3rd full count so far, and kind of surprising to see that from Josh Mason.
I expect it from Dan Ward, but from guys like Elliott and Latona, they've been working hard here in this count. A misplay from Tommy Fiesel in left field ends up keeping this inning alive, and Elliott will get into second base. No runs come in to score as Dan Williams gets to third, but a couple of Dans on the base pass. I believe they marked it a hit, but of course the contact wasn't made with the leather, so it might have been a mental miscue there for Fiesel, but you can't give him the physical error. Maybe in the MLB you would mark that an error, but you've seen it.
It depends who the hometown scorer is.
Yes, exactly. I mean, you've seen it go either way. In the end, a double for Dan Elliott. Runners at second and third. And stepping up to the plate, Mr. Bryn Martinez, coming to us from Southwest Ranches, Florida, and Quincy University, looks at ball 1.
And I'll tell you what, that's good base running by Dan Williams. He saw once the ball got down, he kind of hit the bag, turned on the Jets, and headed for third. And as a result, a base hit will score 2 and give them the lead.
Is that one? Enough of the outside corner. Martinez looks at a couple. 1 for a strike, 1 for a ball. Nice frame job from Jake Barbie. Barbie hanging tough after colliding with the brick wall down that third baseline as Mason gives one look to Elliott at second, brings it home. The 84-mile-an-hour pitch misses just away, and you can tell Mason's really working that outer third of the plate. And I know you were talking about in that last at-bat to Elliott, it really is tough to, pinpoint your accuracy, but he's right around that outer third every time. And like you mentioned, it makes it difficult for these hitters to decide if it's a strike or a ball when it's right on that black.
Well, this is one of the other things about what makes it so hard to be a good pitcher. He knows what Rob Lothian's zone is. I'm sure he's had him as an umpire before. He knows that each umpire has a different zone. And if Rob Lothian is going to call that outside corner, where do you think Mason is going to target? He's going to target the outside corner, and he's going to make guys have to go and swing at it, and they're going to make weak contact as a result.
This ball hit high and deep out to right field. At the track is Kitson, but he finds it, takes a step or two in, and makes the catch for the third and final out. And the Unicorns strand 2 in the frame, and we head to the home half of the second. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. To the home half of the second we go. Jake Barbie, Jordan Thomas, Tommy Fiesel, the catcher, shortstop, and left fielder due up for these Mammoths to start the home half of the second. They take the 1-0 lead into this second inning on the solo shot from Ethan Whisker. But Jake Barbie, in for his first at-bat of the night, looks at a two-seamer that misses away as Alagus works on his second inning. 13 pitches in the first frame, 8 for strikes, 5 for balls. But that one miscue against Whisker on that 3-2 pitch, giving these Mammoths the 1-0 lead early as Barbie looks at the second straight pitch. That one gets enough of the zone, evens the count up at 1-1. Barbie on the season batting just 187. He's got 12 hits and 64 at-bats, but does have 10 RBIs on the year. This is the first battle between him and Alagus.
We talked last inning about the rhythm. Look at how fast Alagus wants to get back to work. It doesn't matter if the guy in the box is ready or not. He wants to go. He wants to throw that pitch, and he's not going to – I mean, the rule is if you're in the box, you can pitch. And with that being the case, he's going to do it whether you like it or not, which I'm sure ruffles some feathers around the league.
And you see Barbie slowly making his way back into this batter's box, trying to slow Alagus down as that 2-2 pitch misses just outside. But
did you notice where he went for? The outside corner.
You got to work what you got behind home plate. But Alagus is a guy who's not going to mess around, sort of like Mason. But the success for Mason has been a higher ceiling compared to Alagus so far. And there's moments like that where pitches can just get away from Alagus like that. And there's the leadoff walk on the breaking ball that does not enter the back door. And Barbie does a good job. Leadoff man gets on.
And you know what? I'll tell you something. I like that idea right there. That was a good call. That was a good call by Conley to call for the slider there because you know what? If that pitch is in the zone, he gets the confidence in the slider. So you know what? Go for it again the next time you get 2 strikes. Good job right there.
Thomas, the batter, he hits one high and deep down that left field line. Looks like it's going to be just foul, but that one went over the Chevrolet Pavilion out there in the left field patio area. That had to have been at least 410 feet.
Oh, you don't see many balls get hit out there all the way to the Chevy sign. And I mean, he swings at that one about a couple milliseconds later, and we're looking at a 3-0 game.
And he does have 1 home run on the year, but only 12 hits and 62 at-bats. Does strike out a lot, but he's hitting the ball well as of late. This ball almost getting a piece of Thomas as he turns out of the way of that one. Evens the count up at 1-1. But Thomas, how about this, Mr. Goldman? Hit streak on the line here for Thomas. He's got a base knock in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of his last games. And there goes number 6 down the third base line into the corner. That's going to be trouble for Mr. Carter Grote. Rounding third, headed for home is Barbie. The ball's cut off by Martinez, but there will be no play at the plate. And Thomas's hitting streak continues. That is now 6 games in a row and 7 out of his last 8 where he's got a hit. But the question is, will he get his first 2-hit game? All of those games in that hit streak have been just the 1 hit. But he does his job, drives in Barbie, and gives the Mammoths the 2-0 lead here in the home half of the second.
And you look at an example of a leadoff walk coming back to haunt you. It happens all the time, and there's a prime example of it right there. He had him 0-2. He went 3-2. He walked him, and now that guy's back in the dugout saying, boys, that just got us a nice little run right there.
So Barbie not only giving his all out there as the catcher, but working his way on the base pass at the plate as well. Now Tommy Feasel standing in. 86 at-bats on the year. That's good enough to be in the top 10 in this league. Looks at called strike 1 to begin this at-bat against Alagus, and there goes that slider. That one missing just low, and for a guy like Feasel who does strike out a lot, really good eye there on the 0-1 pitch. But with Feasel, all you got to do is put the ball in play. You got tons of speed out of that batter's box, and that's been the biggest issue for Feasel this year as he swings and misses at pitch number 3 of the at-bat. All he's got to do is put it in play because, he hits the ball hard. He hits it on a line. He just has to make the contact. And I've seen, him progress over the season. And, it's an everyday battle that you just have to go out and give it your best shot as the 1-2 pitch fought off as it looks like it will get out of play into that patio area down and right.
You talk about speed. The Mammoths are not short on speed by any means, and they're in a great situation right now with Feasel at the plate. He's got speed. Thomas has speed. So any real poke into the outfield is going to net you a run and get you to a 3-0 game, which honestly should be more than enough for Josh Mason. Of course, we'll see how he fares the rest of the game. He had a bit of a rough second inning, but he does look good so far.
Don't get me started on the man on deck as well. Drew Kitson also with some speed. The last 3 guys in this lineup, lethal out there on the base pass this year. But Feasel working his count as it goes to 2-2 now against Alagus. This ball grounded softly to the left side. Gets eaten up by that infield grass, but Bryn Martinez doing his job as the shortstop. Charges the baseball and throws it to first for out number 1. A big out right there for the Corns and Kyle Alagus.
And did you see how much that ball died on the infield grass? By the time it got to Bryn Martinez, he knew he had to hurry up and make that play. Great job by the slick fielding shortstop. He got the ball. He didn't double clutch or anything, but he made sure he had a good grip on the ball, was able to shoot it right across the diamond, and was able to ensure that he would get the out.
And that's one thing that, we actually haven't really talked about on the broadcast. You get to play in the same field for every game. You don't have to get used to new ballparks or new parameters of the field, and that's something that these guys, of course, have taken into account. This ball hit on a line out to Jimmy Latona. He tries to make a diving catch, but as he was sliding in the grass, it makes contact off of the leather and falls into right field. Not sure what they will mark it just yet, but in my opinion, that ball's got to be caught.
Oh, yeah. And not only does it have to be caught, it caught a lot of his glove. It didn't hit the heel. It didn't hit off the top. It hit in the webbing and kind of bounced out of his glove. So with that being the case, that's a ball you got to catch.
And, in fact, they do mark it an error out there up on our scoreboard. So Kitson reaching on the error from Latona. Love the call right there as, you don't see a lot of close calls, whether it's a hit or an error, go in favor of an error here at Jimmy John's Field. We try to be somewhat courteous with our hits. If it's on the fence between a hit and an error, we usually fall towards a hit. But a nice call right there by our official scorer. As you can tell now, the sunlight playing a major factor as Alagus bends that hat down and has to block out the sun from getting right into that vision.
And now you have to question, was the sun a factor on that ball in right field, or did he just plain misplay the ball? What double steal.
And they won't get the out at second, but they will get the out at the plate if Conley can hold on. The double steal does not prove pivotal for the Westside Woolly Mammoths. Kitson does get into scoring position safely, but a big out at the plate, and Oligas got to be tipping his cap to his defenders who are helping him out there. And as Thomas is retired via the count it 6-2 putout, that is good enough for out number 2. Kitson getting to second, and Smith has worked the count 2-0 as that one misses the zone as well.
I'll tell you what, I like that idea, though. You know what? If he's safe, that gives you a 3-0 lead. You're off to a real good start here already. You know, the 3-0 lead is obviously, of course, better than the 2-0 lead.
As this ball falls in shallow into left, Kitson's rounding third, and he's headed for home. We're going to have a play at the plate, ladies and gentlemen. A one-hop to Conley. Can he get the out? Yes, he does! It pops off of the ground, falls into the mitt, and it goes right in time to tag out Kitson at the plate. Are you kidding me? What an ending to this second inning. The Mammoths get another run, but it could have been even more. And my goodness, what a ball game that we've seen so far here tonight.
We're through 2 innings.
Got a lot more to come here, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland and Leo Goldman with you. And for our next couple of innings, for our play-by-play duties, I'll hand it off to Mr. Leo Goldman.
Thanks, Rich. The 1-0 is fouled out of play by Griffin Neuer, getting his first at-bat in today's game in center field. Griffin is playing his second game, and we thought it was newer, but that would have been only too perfect, as he is the newest player of the Unicorns. Here's the 1-1. In there for a strike, a fastball on the outside corner as up goes the hand of Rob Lothian, and it's 1-2. No runs, 2 hits for the Unicorns, 2 runs on 4 hits for the Woolly Mammoths. Swung on a foul back to the screen. We'll reset and do it again. 1-2. In this last half inning, you talk about some excitement, folks. I mean, that's Major League excitement right in your own backyard. We had 2 plays at the plate, a double steal, an error, and just about everything else that you could think of. Here's the 1-2, grounded towards first. Smith will scoop it up, a little toss over to the bag, and there's out number 1.
Good start there for Mason, who coming into this third inning had 35 pitches through the first 2 frames, but he only had 12 through that first inning. He does have 2 strikeouts on the day so far, but most important thing, that big old 0 up on the scoreboard.
It'll bring up Dan Ward now with 1 out, and the base is empty. Ward popped out to right his first time up. It was close to the warning track, but as I always tell my friend Rich Borland, close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. Here's the first pitch of the at-bat, outside for a ball, 1-0. Was able to get to a full count in his first at-bat, one of 3 batters who can say that little tidbit. Outside for a ball, and the rhythm, while the rhythm has stayed the same, it hasn't exactly been effective, and you'll notice that when the rhythm starts to not work for Josh Mason, he kind of takes a step off the mound, takes a deep breath, gets back on the slab, and gets ready to go. Here's the 2-0 to Ward. Inside for a ball, and it's still not working. 3-0. On deck is Chris Conley, and it's going to be 1 pitch away from a potential walk here to Ward. Ward is not a guy that you want to allow on base.
And I was going to say, as he gets enough of that outside corner, you got to be careful with the 3-0 count against a guy like Ward, because he will be one of the few guys that will try and get that green light on a 3-0 pitch.
The 3-1 catches enough of the corner, and once again, Dan Ward faces a full count. Ward just recently in the first inning, his 100th at bat on the year, swung on a foul out of play. 32 hits for him, 4 doubles, 5 homers, 20 ribbies. However, those hits come at a cost. He swings hard every time, and as a result, about 23% of his at-bats are strikeouts. So you know what? You take the good with the bad with Dan Ward. Here's the 3-2. Swing and a miss. He dusted him. And 2 down now. That is strikeout number 3 today for Josh Mason.
And that's kind of how the game's been going at the major league level. A record season for strikeouts and home runs. And for the most part, that's, you know, the results that we've seen at the major league level. Guys are either striking out or hitting home runs, and not a lot in between that. And you don't see a crazy amount of home runs in the USPBL, but a lot of dominating pitchers in this league working their way through some of these hitters, and tons of strikeouts on the year. But Dan Ward, a guy who does not strike out a ton, gets victimized there for strikeout number 3 on the day for Mason.
Chris Conley steps in for a second at bat and takes a ball 1 fastball, and ball 2 is just about the same token. 2-0 now with the bases empty on Conley. Conley, the native of Derby, New York. He attended Canisius College. Here's the 2-0. In there for a strike, and it's 2-1. He's 8 for 27 on the year. He's now 8 for 28. He's got a small sample size, but he's a guy with a lot of promise, as you can see in a lot of the scouting reports. The 2-1 just missed on the inside corner. Conley doing the catching today. Played 4 years of varsity hockey in high school. He was a goalie, so apparently he just loves wearing masks and having things thrown at him. Here's the 3-1. Grounder towards first, and it's going to roll foul. And yet again, it'll be a full count.
And the most impressive thing that I've seen from Chris Conley, the 2017 Perfect Game Player of the Year when he was at Canisius in 2017. How about this? 41 games played, a .382 batting average, and a .582 on-base percentage.
No small feat, to say the least, for this guy. Conley digs back in. Here's the 3-2. And he's called out on strikes. Doesn't agree with the call, but unfortunately his opinion won't mean anything. So we'll head to the bottom of the third. Currently 2-0. Mammoths on top. You are listening to the USPBL YouTube channel. We're through 2.5 here at Jimmy John's Field. Mammoths on top 2-0. Mammoths with 2 runs on 5 hits. Unicorns with no runs on 2 hits. There is an error on the board for the Unicorns. Ethan Whisker will swing at the first pitch and pop it up toward the first base side. Elliott circles under it at first, and he will make the catch for a very, very quick out number 1.
And that's such a great start there for Alagus here to start off this bottom half of the third. You had Whisker, who had the big hit off you in this game, and first pitch swinging, gets a little underneath it, maybe trying to get home run number 2 on the day, but instead, better pitch starting there from Mr. Alagus to retire Whisker for the first time tonight.
And Brandon Cuddy, the self-proclaimed science nerd, will step into the box for at bat number 2. Flew out to right field his first time up. Says he's a big chemistry guy. And he swings and it's a ground ball to Elliott, who is having a busy inning so far. Steps on first for the 3 unassisted putout. And there's 2 down quickly.
On 2 straight pitches, Mr. Elliott staying busy over there at that first base bag. And so here's a situation where you got Andrew Dundon coming up to the plate, a guy who likes to swing at first pitch strikes
If he swings at the first pitch strike here,
that's how he hit his double.
He might be sitting on the bench. First pitch is a fastball right down M59, and it's 0-1. Dundon, the Lincoln Park native, looks at a ball 1-1. 13 for 41 on the year. 14 for 41 now with the double. 2 doubles, 2 homers, 8 RBIs. He's got 6 walks and 11 strikeouts to go along with it. He waits on the 1-1. Here it comes. In there, and a nice pitch. It's 1-2.
That's slider from Alagus. If he starts it off inside and breaks it over the heart of the plate, it's almost impossible to hit.
Here's the 1-2. Swung on a ground ball towards short. Martinez, the vacuum over there, throws to first, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Alagus. So we'll go to the top of the third inning, or excuse me, the top of the fourth inning, rather. Everybody makes mistakes. 2-0 Unicorns trail. You are listening to the USPBL YouTube channel. Top of the fourth here at Jimmy John's Field in Utica, Michigan. First pitch outside for a ball to Carter Grote. Josh Mason has looked really, really good today. Has only surrendered 2 hits. And it's now 2-0 to Carter Grote. Those 2 hits came back in the second inning. It was a tough second inning to get through, but Mason has rebounded well. Here's the 2-0. Swung on a foul tip into the glove of Barbie, who I'm not really sure how he's still in the game, to be honest with you. If it was me, I would have been in the hospital by now. But then again, that's why I'm not playing college baseball or professional baseball. 2-1 is inside and nearly clipped him. 3-1 On Carter Grote. Grote 0 for 1 today. Grounded a third his first time up as a part of the 1-2-3 first inning. Swung on a fly ball toward left field. This one is trouble, and a nice play in left field by Feasel. Wow, he really ran that ball down, and I'm really not sure how Tommy Feasel got to that one without leaving his feet, but he was able to make a terrific catch for the first out of the inning.
Well, Leo, I told you in that last at-bat for Feasel how, he doesn't make contact all that often, but when he does, he can use that speed to get on base, and he used every ounce of that speed out and left to record out number 1. Nice job there from the Northwestern alum.
And here comes Big Dan Williams, who will look at a ball for the first pitch of the at-bat. Here comes the 1-0. Swung on and a massive swing right there from the big fella, and it's 1-1.
And that pitch was only 86 miles an hour from Mason, but with it elevated, it was a little tougher for Williams to catch up on.
Here's the 1-1. Swung on a ground ball towards second. Lawson scoops it into his chest and throws over to first for out number 2. So with 2 down, that'll bring up Austin Ledoux. Ledoux has struck out swinging today. That was a really good play over at second by Lawson, and that ball took a little bit of a nasty hop at the end. Lawson, however, he stayed down on it, kind of scooped it up to his chest, and, that's exactly how they tell you to do it. That was textbook fielding right there from Lawson. So base is empty now, and that will bring up Ledoux. Here's the first pitch from Mason. Inside, and that one almost clipped him. It's 1-0. Ledoux comes to us courtesy of Grand Valley State University. 3 doubles on the year, a homer, 5 RBI, 3 walks, and 10 strikeouts. Here's the pitch. Inside, and doesn't miss by much, but it's 2-0.
Yeah, Ledoux coming to us, like you mentioned, from Grand Valley State, where in his time there in the 2017 and 18 seasons, how about this? 101 games played, a .376 average.
The guy has a knack for swinging the stick. 2-1 on Ledoux. And another thing to mention, he was named to the Division II All-Midwest Region First Team in 2018. And get this, he started out at North Iowa Community College, batted over .300 for 3 years before he came to GVSU. Swing and a miss, and it's 2-2. So it's not like his success just suddenly stopped short once he got to GVSU. And, I mean, it's been a lot of success for him. He's an over .300 college hitter.
Well, and not only that, but when he was at North Iowa Area Community College, he made it to the Junior College World Series in both of his years there.
So the guy knows about winning, that's for sure. Here is the 2-2. Swung on and popped up. Who wants it? And it looks like it's going to be Thomas at short to call it. He will make the catch to retire the side. So we'll go to the bottom of the 4th. Mammoths on top, 2-0. You are listening to the USPBL YouTube channel. Bottom of the fourth here at Jimmy John's Field. Leo Goldman, Rich Borland with you on the call here. As Jalen Lawson takes ball one inside. A guy who can, I mean, we talked about players who can hit the Chevy sign out there. He's one of them. He could hit the scoreboard, to be honest with you. Love to see him in the home run derby. High fly ball toward left field. Going back at the track at the wall. Gone to the point of no return. And he was my pick-the-stick player, and for good reason. That ball got out of here in a hurry, folks. Leading off the inning, Jalen Lawson goes deep to make it a 3-0 ball game. And the Mammoths are starting to take this one in stride.
And you know what's great about that, Leo? Mr. Lawson went out as one of our interviewees, as we have two players from each team go out and talk with our in-game host and ESPN3 color commentator, Mr. Matt Derry. I asked Lawson how he was feeling today. He said he was feeling great, and I go, you going to do me a favor and hit us a home run tonight? And look at that, right on cue. Ask and you shall receive. Jalen Lawson with home run number 5 on the year. That's good to be tied at the league lead with Mr. Dan Ward, and that is no easy feat.
First pitch is outside for a ball. Rich, are you trying to take credit for that man's home run?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
I was just clarifying. I just wanted all the folks at home to make sure that they were hearing the same thing as I was. Here's Jake Barbie. The 1-0 is in there for a strike, really hammering that outside corner as Olagus. And now you have to start wondering to yourself, how long is the leash on Olagus tonight? I guess we'll find out over the course of the next few innings. The 1-1 is swung on and missed, and it's 1-2. Jordan Thomas waits on deck.
And the thing is, I mean, 38 pitches through the first 3 frames for Olagus. He's just allowed a couple of guys to make really good contact on a couple of key pitches. And between Whisker and Lawson, with Barbie also scoring on a RBI double off of Jordan Thomas, that walk coming back to haunt him, even though it's the only walk he's allowed all night long.
The 1-2 is outside, tried the slider, and it would not go. Here's the 2-2. Swung on, and that's going to be foul down the line, not by much. Out by the Buff Whelan Chevrolet sign.
So we've seen 2 home runs here tonight, Leo. Last night in the All-Star game, saw 10 combined
10
home runs,
homers.
beating the previous record by 4.
I'm going to call that the Millennial All-Star game.
There you go.
Millennials love the slugfest. Here's the 2-2. Tries the slider again, but it will not go, and it's a full count. Tell you what, I would love to see Jalen Lawson be in the home run derby next year for the USPBL if he is still here.
He was a big snub. I told him that too. You know, he was near the league lead, but
ground ball to second. Ledoux scoops it up, throws to first, and there's your first out of the inning after Lawson homered.
And the thing, unfortunately, for Lawson, you know, he's done well later on in the season, but he had a little bit of a slow start. The average wasn't where he wanted it to be, and unfortunately, with the average where it was coming into the All-Star break, he was not given the credit there, but, you know, he's making them pay here during this regular season, and a big reason why the Mammoths are, if they win tonight, in first place.
Jordan Thomas steps up to the plate, swinging at the first pitch, and he will foul it back to the screen. Almost got into the crowd, and with the big netting here, that's a very, very rare thing here at Jimmy John's Field. Thomas going with the high socks tonight. I love the classic look. It's great. The 0-1 is high and inside for a ball.
Stirrup
1-1. Yeah, stirrups. Looks real good on him. Comes to us from the beautiful city of New Orleans, Louisiana. Weber University product. Waits on the 1-1. Ooh, nice frame job right there by Chris Conley. And it's 1-2. 12 for 59, 2 doubles, a homer, and an RBI on the year for Jordan Thomas. Add on the fact that he's got 6 steals, and you've got yourself a promising young player. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and he will add to that strikeout total, which unfortunately has been nearly half of his at-bats in this summer.
And, you know, Thomas, he only has 1 multi-hit game on this season. And, Leo, it came back on May the 15th, his first game of the year, where he had 2 base hits and 3 at-bats against the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers. But another opportunity tonight, as he'll have at least 2 more at-bats in this one.
Tommy Fusel steps in and looks at a first pitch ball outside on the slider. The Makina, Illinois native. And if you'd like to know something great about Tommy Fusel, as he fouls that pitch back, this guy played Division I football, and, you know, That's all nice and good. But he was playing Big Ten Division I football. So you talk about a guy who can play any field, to say the least. The 1-1 is grounded towards short. He kind of hacked it off. Martinez has time, throws to first, and that is out number 3. So a homer brings in a run and makes it a 3-0 game. We'll go to the top of the 5th. Rich Borland will take over the duties of play-by-play when we come back. You're listening to USPBL YouTube.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland and Leo Goldman with you. Jimmy Latona, Dan Elliott, Bryn Martinez, the 6, 7, 8 hitters due up to start this 5th frame offensively for the Corns, and off we go. A high fly ball into shallow foul territory down the third base line. Andrew Dundon ready for the play and makes the catch with ease. And we've seen a lot of first pitch swings that lead to outs here tonight, and you wonder if with the time limit implemented that these coaches are telling their players and hitters specifically to be more aggressive up there at the plate, or maybe it's just, see ball, hit ball, simple approach.
I don't think you can tell your players to do that because that just messes with the rhythm. And, to add on to that, that's going to mess with a guy trying to get a hit. And you can't do that. It'll completely ruin your chances of winning a ball game.
And the only reason I do say that is because I've noticed since the time change, batters have been more aggressive, so I'm not sure if they're thinking about it.
But
maybe
could you make the argument that now the pitchers are trying to get more strikes as well?
It's a two-way street that everyone's trying to get a little bit used to, not having a clock in baseball, for the entire time that the game has been a thing. But some history here at the USPBL with that 2.5-hour time limit. We will not start another inning after the 2-hour and 25-minute mark. So with this game starting at 7:05, we will not have another inning begin after 9:30 on the button. But knock on wood, we're cruising as we speak. Dan Elliott down in the count 1-2, fights one off on the inside part. Out of play it goes. But Mason with 67 pitches through the first 4 frames, 43 of them for strikes. 4 strikeouts to no walks. That's the biggest difference we've seen so far. And the two-seam pitch misses away. Elliott works the count 2-2.
I'll tell you what, he has fouled every single pitch off in this at-bat to the exact same spot. And if you're a pitcher, you see that and you see this guy is late. You got to throw off his rhythm. You got to throw him something nasty down in the zone. You got to strike him out right here.
That 2-2 breaking ball sets up the fastball in on the hands. Nice play from Jackson Smith. Picks up the hard ground ball, and Mason, turning from pitcher to fielder, busts his tail, heads over to that first base line, and beats Elliott to the bag quickly. 2 up and 2 down to start the 5th.
In a 3-0 game right now, if you are the Unicorns, you got to be thinking, all right, we're about to be through 5. We have not gotten squat off this guy. You got to put something together. Maybe try a little small ball. Try something. The infield has been playing them back the entire game. You need a spark. That's not going to do it. But you drop a bunt down the third base line. If it's well placed enough, you're also dealing with a catcher who just ran into a wall. You're telling me a bunt wouldn't be a great idea at some point in the next inning?
Yeah, definitely, of course.
And they have speed, too.
They do. Between, Griffin Neuer, you got Ward, who doesn't have a ton of speed. Conley doesn't, but between Grote, Latona, Martinez, this guy, speaking of the devil, the 0-1 pitch, Martinez takes one off the backside. And Mason, I was talking with you before we brought us back on the air, Leo, how this inning of work for Mason could decide if he's going to be able to come back out for the 6th inning. Coming into this 5th with 67 pitches, had an opportunity to get another 1-2-3 inning, but that 0-1 hit by pitch to Bryn Martinez keeps the inning alive. And now Griffin Neuer standing in 0-for-1 on the night with that ground out to Smith. But this one, if it's fair, it's going to be trouble. And in fact, it is. Down that right field line it goes. Kitson into the corner. Rounding second, heading to third is Martinez. Now he's coming to the plate. Throw offline to Smith, but he has a play at third, and getting gunned down over there is Mr. Neuer. And the Corns do get a run back as Bryn Martinez comes all the way in from first, but Neuer is retired. He gets the double and is thrown out via the 7-3-5 putout. It's been an exciting game thus far. We're through 4.5. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. To the home half of the 5th we go. Unicorns getting a run back on the RBI double off of the bat of Griffin Neuer. Drives in Bryn Martinez, who reached on the 2-out hit by pitch. But a new arm on the mound for the Unicorns. The starter, Alagus, goes the 4 innings, allows 3 earned runs on 6 hits. Did have 1 walk and 1 strikeout against the 17 batters that he faced. But he now gives way to the right-hander coming to us from not Madison Heights, Michigan, but Madison Heights, Virginia. Jesse Stinnett, the right-hander, starts off Drew Kitson with a strike to begin this at-bat. Kitson reached on the error back in inning number 2. And then quickly, Stinnett not messing around, kind of like what we've seen from both of the starters tonight, going right at Kitson. The count quickly 0-2, but Stinnett, a 12 and a third innings pitched on the year through 9 relief appearances. He's got a 1-1 record with 15 hits allowed, but how about this? Only 4 walks to 17 strikeouts coming into the plate today, and he gets strikeout number 18 on the first victim that he sees. Kitson can't hold the bat back, and quickly 1 up and 1 down for the Mammoths to start off this home half of the 5th. Good start for the right-hander.
Yeah, and you look at Stinnett, his ERA is high. He's got a 6.57 ERA, but the reason it's on that side is because all but a couple of outings for him have been a 1-inning appearance, and when that's the case for you, your margin for error is razor thin. I mean, he's got major league experience under his belt. His father, Jimmy, played for the Pirates single-A and double-A team, and through a very long-distance relation, he is related to former Diamondbacks catcher Kelly Stinnett.
Great stuff right there, Mr. Goldman. The 0-1 pitch to the batter, Jackson Smith, as we go back to the top of this Westside lineup. Quickly following off the 0-1 count is Smith to left. And Smith on the night, 1 for 2 with that single in the second, flew out to center back in the first, but he'll have to take a 2-strike approach as the sun continues to set here at Jimmy John's Field. And there you see Smith on that 0-2 pitch, kind of just throwing the stick out there and realizing that Stinnett was going right after him, keeping the ball in the zone.
That's 3 in a row to the left side. That's 3 in a row that he's been laid on. Take the hint, Stinnett. Give him something good right here.
Then he tries to go with the breaking ball via the back door, but doesn't get the bite that he wants on it. Release that ball just a little too early, and because of it, Smith staying alive in the count. Stinnett, the kick, the push. Another breaking ball. This one freezes Smith, and he sets him up with that first breaking ball, but back-to-back Ks for Stinnett have frozen the Mammoths to start this home half of the 5th inning. A great, great pitching matchup we're seeing so far outside of the home runs that were given up by Olagus. Overall, all 3 of these guys doing as best as they can.
Yeah, and the best part about a matchup like this, first off, it's a quick game for those of you who enjoy the very quick game. And as a result, you get the shadows coming in, so now it's like they have to play with this 6th element that they have to deal with and adapt to. I think that's great, honestly, because it's another thing that you can play into and look at.
Breaking ball on the 1-0 effort from Stinnett. Called strike on the outside part of the plate to Ethan Whisker. 1 for 2 on the night, had that massive home run in the home half of the 1st inning. Gave the Mammoths their first run of the game, and Stinnett, more breaking balls we're seeing. This one missing inside to Whisker. And I would imagine if I'm Whisker, I got that curveball timed up. He's seen it twice so far in this at-bat. I would try and go back with something fast, and there it goes. Right on that outside black, called strike 2. And so you've seen a little bit of everything from Stinnett. You've seen both the fastball and the breaking ball. I got no idea what's coming, and that's part of the reason I'm up here in the booth. Let's see what Whisker can do to adapt. But look at that. Stinnett not messing around. A 1-2-3 striking out of the inning does the right-hander, and we are through 5 here at Jimmy John's Field. Mammoths out in front by 2. We head to the 6th. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the 6th inning we go. Your score 3-1 in favor of the Mammoths. Back out onto the bump for his, count it, 6th inning of work, Mr. Josh Mason. Mason with, count him, 78 pitches coming into this 6th inning. Missed ball, pitch number 80 on the night on the 0-1 count. Ward is retired for his 3rd time tonight. Not something you see every day from the right-hander for the Corns, who has the most hits in the league coming into play tonight, but none so far for the big fella, as that one is caught by Kitson for out number 1.
Well, Josh Mason really living up to the hype right now, and he has not only gotten Dan Ward to go down 3 times, he's at 1 run, 3 hits. We're in the 6th. This guy's cruising.
And, he was on the bottom side of that, probably the best game that we've seen all season long at Jimmy John's Field between him and Cody Brown, where Brown had that complete game shutout. Mason had not allowed any runs going into the 8th inning, into the 9th inning, as the Unicorns got a solo shot from Chris Allen in that top of the 9th. Mason finished the top of the 9th inning, but Cody Brown went back out and shut the door for the complete game shutout. But Mason doing just about as well as Brown did in that contest. Just the one miscue, like we saw just 2 times from Oligus tonight on those solo shots from Whisker and Lawson, 2 of the marquee hitters in this league, taking advantage of those miscues, and that's the difference so far in this game. The 2-run lead as we're heading to the 6th inning. 1 run for the Mammoths in the 1st and 2nd innings, 1 more in the 4th, and then the Unicorns getting 1 in the top of the 5th on that double from Griffin Noyer, as Conley is
trying to turn his fortunes around here.
The payoff pitch from Mason, high and in, looked to be ball 4, but Conley...
You can't take that. There's no way. Because if that's strike 3, you're going back to the dugout, slamming your helmet in a mature way.
And Conley, one of the best eyes at the plate. I mentioned that .582 on-base percentage at Canisius College that senior season. But he gets frozen up for the 2nd consecutive time. He did not protect on that outside black, and that will record out number 2. Something we're not seeing from Conley in recent memory, but that's the 2nd time he struck out via the look tonight.
Now my question is, how do you foul off that 3-2 pitch and then look at a fastball right down the middle for strike 3? I mean, he's going to be replaying that one. You got to have a short memory, but he's going to be thinking about that one.
Carter Grote now standing in, and I was talking with you before Mason had came out in the 5th inning on how he would need a short and fast 5th to get to the 6th inning, but now we're having a conversation where he might try and even go out for the 7th inning, as he had 78 pitches coming into this frame, but currently at 89 pitches is Mason. The 2-0 to Grote. Popped up. It's going to be staying in the field of play. Barbie not running into any brick walls, as the 3rd baseman, Dundon, calls him off and records out number 3. That is the, count it, 4th 1-2-3 inning on the night for Mason. He is cruising, and I hope to see him back out there for the 7th. The pop out to 3rd retires Grote. We head to the home half of the 6th. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland, Leo Goldman with you. We're through 5.5 innings of play. Mammoths out in front by a score of 3-1. Homers from Whisker and Lawson, as well as an RBI double from Jordan Thomas, have put them up. The RBI double from Griffin Neuer back in the 5th have gotten the Corns on the board, but the day is done for Jesse Stinnett, who goes the inning, allows no runs, no hits, no walks, but count it, a striking out of the side. And he now gives way to the right-hander, Mr. Gio Abreu, who throws a strike to Brandon Cuddy to begin the at-bat, but Cuddy taking advantage of the 0-1 fastball into left field it goes. He takes it the opposite way, and the leadoff single is aboard for the 3-hole hitter.
And Gio Abreu has had his struggles this year, only one scoreless outing. He's been through 26 1/3, 1-1 record, 22 hits, 11 walks, 33 strikeouts, and a 5.47 ERA. When he's good, he is lights out. But when he struggles and loses his command, like you saw on May 31st versus Birmingham, he had 4 walks, and the roof just caved in on him. 5 earned in that appearance. And, I mean, this guy, if he can figure out the consistency approach, he's going to be really good for this league.
And you wonder, in that 2-game stretch from May 25th to May 31st against the Hoppers and Beavers, those were both starts, and you wonder if Abreu will strictly stay in that 1 or 2 inning max. As this ball's thrown into second base, will he have a play? No. Very close, but Andrew Dundon on the 0-1 pitch slides in safely with, count it, his second double of the night, and he earned that one.
Yeah, that was a lot of hustle right there. And speaking of hustle, look at JJ. Best dog in all of sports. But no, I mean, a shot to the gap, and he really did have to hustle on that one. That honestly looked to me like it should have been an easy double, but kind of coming out of the box, it looked like he may have thought it was just going to be a single, and as a result, he kind of had to, get going, turn on the jets, and hustle it in a second.
So here comes big, bad Jalen Lawson with the 5 home runs on the year, tied for the league lead with Dan Ward. And if you're Abreu, you got to be careful here. You give up the leadoff single to Cuddy, the double to Dundon, and nowhere. Well, technically you do have first base to put Lawson, but then you got Jake Barbie, Jordan Thomas, Tommy Fiesel, Drew Kitson behind him. There really isn't a slow part of this Westside lineup, and part of the reason they've had so much success at the plate this year. Lawson, one of the main guys, also Whisker as well, but you got names like Cuddy, Jackson Smith, Andrew Dundon helping out as well. It's really a good team effort.
And you know that there's a solid bullpen on the other end for the Mammoths, and with that being the case, you need to keep it at a 3-1 game. You can't afford to make it 4-1 or 5-1, and it's a necessity right now. I'm not really sure what the delay is.
Not sure if it was the home plate umpire, Mr. Rob Lothian, if he had something in his eye. But either way, we're back to work here as Abreu missed the zone to start against Lawson, but he's ready and takes a look at Dundon at second. The kick, the push, breaking ball. Looked good from up here, but must have missed just a tad low. A lot of movement on that pitch from Abreu, and just a little bit too much on that one.
And like I was talking about, we're about to be in the 7th inning. It's a shutdown bullpen for the Mammoths. You need to keep it manageable. 3-1 is manageable. You get a runner on, and you have the tying run at the plate. Even 4-1 wouldn't be the worst thing ever.
That one just getting away from Conley, but not enough to where Cuddy can come in to score. It's 3-0.
But you got to keep it at. I don't blame Abreu at all for giving Lawson nothing to hit. I mean, you saw that shot way back earlier in the game, which, how do we not have any type of promotion with Jimmy Johns as far as a Jimmy Jack?
As the 3-0 pitch, it's a sponsorship type situation where only certain things are allowed, and we actually don't sell Jimmy John subs.
Yeah, I
at
noticed
the park
that.
either.
That's criminal.
It's something that, just has to be corporately done, and Lawson works the count 3-1, fouls off the 3-1 pitch.
Should be enough to get in these last 3.5 or potentially 3.
You would hope and think, as the payoff pitch ensues. Advantage, Mr. Abreu, the breaking ball getting called strike 3 on that inner part of the plate. Lawson retired for the 2nd time today, but a big out there from Abreu to get out number 1.
And somebody please go check Gio Abreu's hands, because that pitch was filthy, my friend.
lot of late movement on that pitch, and there is a little timeout right now. Not sure what it is, but
I think they're thinking about intentionally walking him.
Barbie standing there, and you know
they're
what?
Give him the walk.
They're going to do it. So the intentional walk, you don't see it every day, but he does, in fact, get to first base via the intentional walk. And I would understand this decision maybe 2-3 weeks to a month ago, but Jordan Thomas on that now 6-game hitting streak already has the double on the day. Maybe they're thinking the approach that he won't get his multi-hit game, but looking for that first multi-hit game since May 15th is Thomas, and what a time it would be to get that second hit of the night. Already up 2, bases loaded, just the 1 out, and then on the other end of it, Abreu looking for one thing, and that's a ground ball that can turn into 2.
Well, Rich, we may be miles away from Motor City Casino, but there's a big gamble being taken right now on the field. Bases loaded, 1 out. Your team already down by 2, and this is huge right here.
Breaking ball to Thomas, second one in a row that he swung right through, and if you're Abreu, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'd be throwing the exact same thing. A breaking ball that starts in the zone, falls out of it, something that you hope Thomas will chase after, and Fiesel due up on deck, another guy who strikes out more than he doesn't, and we'll see what Abreu can do here. Instead, the fastball away at 93 miles an hour, misses the zone, but a good fastball as it was not too far away. You tried to get Thomas to chase, and maybe it's a setup pitch for a breaking ball here on the outside part of the plate. Inside instead. Thomas, though, staying alive and making contact on that one.
I like that waste pitch by Abreu right there because that's a big fastball. That's 93, 94 coming at you real quick out of the 3/4 arm slot. And with that being the case, you can get a lot of hitters who are going to see that. Their eyes are going to light up thinking it's going to stay in the zone, and you'll see them swipe and miss as it goes to the opponent or the other batter's box.
And there it is, another breaking ball thrown to Thomas. He pulls the string and can't pull back as he strikes out for the second consecutive time. And Abreu with an opportunity to strike out 3 in the frame after allowing the single to Cuddy, the double to Dundon, and then, of course, the intentional walk to Barbie. What an inning it could be for these Unicorns. And not only that, but they got the 4, 5, 6 hitters due up to come up in the top half of the 7th in Williams, Ledoux, and Latona. So could be a big little stretch here for these Unicorns if they can get out of this frame unscathed. It's the first pitch, another breaking ball, this time missing inside to Fiesel. Fiesel 0 for 2 on the night. You better be ready if your name is Bryn Martinez. 0 for 2 on the day with 2 groundouts to that shortstop position. And the thing is, with this infield grass, you know it's thick. I'm shocked that I don't see Martinez playing a little bit more shallow as he's near that back lip of the infield in left center. 1-1 pitch. That 2-seamer getting just enough of that outside corner, and the count goes to 1-2.
And it's funny that you bring that up because all game, all the infielders have been playing back for both teams. I got to wonder why nobody has even tried to lay down a bunt.
But instead, no fielding necessary. Abreu gets the 3rd strikeout of the frame, gets out of the bases loaded jam. What a baseball game we're seeing here tonight. We're through 6. Mammoths out in front by 2. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Borland, Leo Goldman here with you. We're through 6 innings of play. Mammoths out in front 3-1 on a couple of homers from Whisker and Lawson, and the RBI double from Jordan Thomas. Bryn Martinez, the only run scored off the double from Griffin Neuer back in the 5th inning. But as we head to this 7th, Josh Mason back out on the bump. 90 pitches thrown, 57 for strikes. And this ball hit a mile out to right. You can forget about it. Out there, Dan Williams with his first home run of the year. And before I can even hand it to my partner, Leo Goldman, for the play-by-play, Dan Williams keeping this game even closer than it is. He cuts the lead to 1.
You know what? That's just how she goes, boys. But I'll take it. I'll take it from here before somebody else hits another one. A homer for Dan Williams, as broadcast partner Rich Borland mentioned. That is his first of the year. That'll bring up Austin Ledoux in a 1-run game. And you know what I love about the 1-run game, Rich? Every batter that comes to the plate is a tying run. And now every batter that you face, you cannot afford to hang one to, like Dan Williams just got one. Here's the first pitch to Ledoux in there for a strike with the fastball, 0-1.
Yeah, it's tough for Mason, who I was wondering if he was going to come back out here for this 7th inning. Didn't have any walks, had the 5 strikeouts to his credit, but that's the first piece of really good contact outside of the double earlier from Dan Elliott.
The 0-1 misses for a ball 1-1. Get this, there is still no action in the pen, but now things beginning to stir. We'll see if somebody gets up in the Woolly Mammoth pen. I would anticipate somebody getting up very soon. It's a 1-run ball game. Here's the 1-1. Swung on and skied toward left field. It looks like Thomas is going to circle under it and make the play out in short left field for out number 1.
And so, without even looking out there in left field, Leo, I know, of course, I've been calling more games than you have for the USPBL.
Well,
with your debut
I hope you
tonight.
did. It is the first game.
But out there, I believe, is number 24, Joel Sharon, and number 17, Gavin Collins. As this game continues on, I would imagine Sharon in the 8th, Collins in the 9th, if Mason can get through this 7th without allowing any more runs or anyone in scoring position. But expect Sharon in the 8th and Collins in the 9th as Latona swings through the first pitch.
First pitch is swung on and missed, 0-1. 1 out, base is empty here. Latona has struck out and popped out to third. Dundon was able to make a nice catch in fair territory. For the out back in the 5th inning, Mason winds and deals, and it's inside and not by much to run the count even 1-1. Latona digs back in, has his outside foot near the outside of the batter's box, and he swings and misses 1-2. Big leg kick, or excuse me, not rather a kick, but more of a big leg move on his outside foot for Latona. This is one of the more interesting stances you'll see in the USPBL. The 1-2, swung on and fouled back to the screen. We'll reset and do it again. Dan Elliott waits on deck. Both of these guys have played together, Elliott and Latona, at Mercyhurst University. Both were a part of the 2015 team that was eliminated in the 2nd round of the College World Series at the Division II level. That pitch misses for a ball, 2-2.
Yeah, Latona in the All-Star game was not a participant in the Home Run Derby, but had a solo shot against the Western All-Stars, and was not off of Mason, but Latona with 2 home runs in the regular season, he's a power to be reckoned with.
Latona waits on the 2-2. Here it comes. Swung on and grounded. Foul, and by inches. That was just about as close to a fair ball as you can get, Rich.
And if you're Latona, you got to be licking your chops. 0 for 2 coming into this at-bat. Your team down a run. You're thinking nothing but trying to get on base, and he was that close from getting a 1-out double in the 7th and possibly taking out Mason of this game.
Here's the 2-2 once more. Swung on another foul ball. This one isn't too close. And we'll go to the third base dugout.
And that's the thing with Mason. We've been talking about it all night long. If he misses, it's better to miss in than over, and that's exactly what he's doing. Those 2-seam fastballs in on the hands of these guys.
And he missed to Dan Williams, and we saw what happened there. Another foul toward the third base dugout. He missed to Dan Williams, and Dan Williams said, "Happy early birthday to me. I'm sending this one out to just about out to M59." Waiting on the 2-2. Here it comes. Another foul ball to the left side. Ooh, nice hands over there at third base.
Pitch 10 coming up right here. Long at bat for Latona,
and with the hot night, he's laboring. I mean, if this is not the last inning for him, I'd be shocked. I'd put my life savings on it. Let me put it to you that way. The 2-2 inside for a ball, and the count runs full again. To borrow a phrase from you, count it. That is how many full counts tonight, Rich? I know you were getting ready to say it.
Is that 8?
I believe so. Here's the 3-2. Swung on and hit high and deep towards center field. Don't get too excited, though. This one's staying in the ballpark. Whew. Caught in center by Whisker. I know. I got out of my chair a little bit, too, Rich. You weren't alone.
That was close.
Had a little too much under it, though, and that will bring up Dan Elliott. Elliott today is 1 for 2 with a double and a ground out to third. Bottom 7 here. 2 runs, 4 hits for the Unicorns. 3 runs, 8 hits for the Woolly Mammoths. First pitch is fouled back to the very, very tall screen. 0-1. It's crazy. They've got twice the amount of hits, and they only have 1 more run. But you know what? Baseball is a crazy game. Here's the 0-1.
It's all about timely hitting.
Oh, yeah. Just outside. And that'll run the count even for those of you MLB fanatics. Manny Machado, member of the Dodgers as of about, 30 minutes ago, in a 6-player return. So the Orioles are set for the next few years if those prospects pan out. They got 3 pitchers and 3 hitters. You're talking about getting a good return. Number 1 prospect in the Dodgers system. 3-1 now on Elliott. And if you're wondering why the Dodgers are in such dire need of a shortstop, as that pitch misses inside and Elliott takes the walk.
Mr. Seager.
Kyle Seager out for the year. Excuse me, Corey Seager.
Say, yeah.
I was about to say. Can you imagine? Do you have a brother?
I do.
I do. Can you imagine having a twin brother and you guys are both just excellent professional baseball players?
You know, families are lucky enough to get 1, let alone 2,
or 0.
As we look out on the mound, Josh Mason still out there for the Westside Woolly Mammoths. He's got 110 pitches.
Shane McCaddy out on the mound having a quick meeting with his pitcher. Excuse me, that is actually assistant coach Alan Oakes. Fun fact about Alan Oakes, he can say something that nobody on this field I don't think will ever be able to say. He hit a walk-off homer against David Price.
Wow.
Elliott takes his lead off first. He has decent speed. Martinez waits. Here's the first pitch, outside for a ball, 1-0. Came in the 10th inning of a regional game between Michigan and Vanderbilt many, many, many moons ago, way back in 2006. That was 12 years ago. How old do you feel, Rich?
Scary to think.
I know. Time's just passing us by, but at least we're watching baseball. Here's the 1-0 in there for a strike on the outside corner, 1-1.
That was a great statement. Time's passing, but the ball's still being played. Can't ask for much more.
Game's changing before us, but hey, you know what? Still pretty nice watching baseball. I'm okay with it. Here's the 1-1. Oh, beautiful job painting the corner right there, and it's 1-2. Mason is 1 pitch away from getting through 7 terrific innings.
It's going to end it on a called strike 3 on the inside part of the plate.
What pitch is he going to throw?
Fastball.
Fastball? Okay. He's calling it. Here's the 1-2 to Martinez. Fastball, outside corner, but he missed. Can I get the tomorrow's lottery numbers, Rich?
I unfortunately have not been too lucky lottery-wise compared to predicting some of these baseball scenarios.
Let me tell you something. I won $1 the other day, and I was happy as a clam. Here's the 2-2. Swung on a ground ball towards second. This should do it. Lawson will go the short way to short where Thomas has it. And, Mason is through 7 complete. So we'll go to the bottom of the 7th. It's a 1-run ball game here at Jimmy John's Field. You are listening and watching the USPBL YouTube channel. It's Dula time here at Jimmy John's Field, a 3-2 ball game. Unicorns trail. Chris Dula takes over on the mound, and he is the resident Aroldis Chapman here, although I hope his arrest record is a little cleaner. His numbers for 2018, 15 and 2/3 innings, 8 hits, 21 walks, 23 strikeouts, and a save. 5.17 ERA, all relief appearances for the 6'2 righty. His first game out against the Diamond Hoppers was pretty rough. If you take that one out and you add in those last 3 scoreless appearances, this guy's looking pretty good. And, don't you have a little something on him, Richard?
Yeah, Mr. Dula coming to us from Catawba College, as he is the current holder of the USPBL pitch speed record, hitting triple digits. The right-hander on the year with those 15 and 2/3 innings pitched, 1 save under his belt. But, yeah, that 5.17 ERA he's definitely going to want to bring down, but he's doing that on a day-to-day basis.
97 on that fastball right there, and Drew Kitson fouled it off his ankle. And you know what? I'm perfectly fine being up here when that's going on. 1-1 on Kitson. Kitson is 0 for 2 today. He had an error, hit into an error, I should say, and struck out swinging. And when you are a guy who throws as hard as Dula, you know what you have is some lethal stuff, and you got to be careful with it.
Yeah, and, you know, the name of the game, control. You can throw as hard as you want, but if you can't throw strikes, you're not going to make it to that next level. And that's something that our director of baseball operations, Justin Orenduff, has been working on with him with this delivery value system. And Dula's improving every day. I mean, he was great in the All-Star game, struck out the side, and just continuing to work here as he gets the 1-1 to Kitson.
99 on the gun, and how would you like to take that fastball off the mask?
Again, happy I'm up here.
Me too. And I'm happy we've got the glass right in front of us, except not on my side. So 1-2 on Drew Kitson. If you're wondering, in the 8th inning, in the top of the 8th, it'll be Neuer, Ward, and Conley for the Unicorns, and we'll see what happens after that. 1-2, infield playing back, corners somewhat in. That one goes about 58 feet, and it, gave Conley a little bit of a spook right there. I'd be a little worried too.
You got all that protection, but when it bounces 3/4 the way there, it could ricochet and go anywhere.
That's going for your neck. 2-2, no outs, bases empty. Bottom of the 7th, 3-2. Mammoths lead here at a beautiful night, Jimmy John's Field. Here's the pitch, 87, and it's inside on the changeup. Count runs full. And one thing that you have to keep in mind, Mr. Borland, it is 8:47 Eastern Standard Time with daylight savings. 9:30 is the cutoff. You think we get a whole game?
We're looking good right now. Just got to keep the pace that we're at.
Swing and a foul tip into the glove for strike 3. 98 on the gun by Dula. And that will bring up Jackson Smith, working on a 1-for-3 day today. That strikeout, by the way, is the 4th in the last 2 innings and the 7th since the start of the 5th inning.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Mr. Goldman. I was just about to say that. A lot of Ks here offensively for the Mammoths, and a guy who's got one of those that started that, that had the second strikeout in that string of Ks. A 1-for-3 night for Smith as that one pops up, and you heard our PA announcer, Mr. John Grab, triple digits there for Dula. Just continuing to bring it is the right-hander.
I mean, it's a joy to watch if you're a fan here at the game. And, folks, if you're not here at this game, you're missing special stuff every night. Here's the 0-1. Inside, and that is 101 for Dula. That ties the record, as you heard. Hey, how'd you like to face this guy?
I was a pitcher in college, so the hitting was non-existent after high school. So yeah, like we've said a few times, taking the play-by-play and broadcasting route, it's working so far. But yeah, happy I'm not down there.
The 1-1 is fouled into the VIP lot. 1-2 is, I got to be honest with you, that's hilarious. The Safe Light Repair.
You like that?
Yeah, I do. I'm always willing to admit when some advertisement makes me laugh, like the "I'm 85 and I want to go home" commercial. Cracks me up every time. 1-2, 1 out, bases empty. Dula versus Smith in a little bit of a duel.
There you go.
I will exit promptly. Swing and a miss on the pitch in the dirt. Conley will throw down for out number 2.
Second K of the night for Jackson Smith. He has to run that one out a little bit, but if we take a look at our strikeout numbers, there was no strikeouts for Allegas through the first 3 frames. He had 1 in the 4th, and then Stinnett struck out the side in the 5th. Abreu had 3 in the 6th, and now Dula on the verge of striking out the side here in the 7th. Lots and lots of Ks coming out of this pitching staff for the Corns, and rightly so. It's been the same story all year long.
Whisker takes a first pitch outside, 98 on the gun. Now, if you are the head coach of the Unicorns, do you let Dula go to the 8th?
Well, there's a guy named Michael Shamanico out in the bullpen for the Unicorns.
Bearing in mind the schedule, as that one is hit towards center. Easy catch out there for Neuer. And we will go to the top of the 8th, and I will hand the duties right on back to Mr. Rich Borland. You're listening and watching USPBL YouTube channel.
To the 8th inning we go. Rich Borland, Leo Goldman with you. We have the 9, 1, and 2 hitters due up. Griffin Neuer's day is done. Joey Luciana substituting for him here in this top half of the 8th inning. And Neuer had a double in his last at-bat, but was thrown out via that 7-3-5 that was committed by Fiesel, and then, or excuse me, Kitson to Dundon over at third base. Luciana looks at a couple of pitches, one for a ball, one for a strike, but how about the day for Josh Mason? Out there now on the mound is Mr. Joel Sharon, but Mason on the night, 7 innings, allows 2 earned runs on 4 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. That is a prototypical line for Josh Mason, and you know, he does it once again. He's in line for the victory here, but still 2 more innings to go as Sharon, the left-hander, out there on the bump, ahead in the count 1-2 against Luciana.
And Joel Sharon, believe it or not, for almost all of his college career, did not pitch. Waited until his senior year to start pitching, and he must be good enough to pitch because, oh, I don't know why I thought they said my name there. That my name is nowhere close. No, but Joel Sharon didn't pitch at all. Can you believe that? I mean, that's kind of like you ever see Invincible?
Oh,
story
yeah.
about Vince Papale, where'd you play your college ball? I didn't play my college ball.
And look at that. No college ball necessary for Mr. Sharon. He gets Luciana on, count 'em, 4 pitches. He chases after the high heat, and is quickly retired for out number 1, but back to the top of this lethal Unicorn lineup we go, and Dan Ward, Chris Conley, and Carter Grote.
Now, do you use that count it phrase? Is that a little homage to 40-year Detroit Pistons broadcaster George Blaha? Count that baby in a foul.
Oh yeah, little Blaha in there. You know, you got to give respect to where it's credited. As the first pitch, two-seamer from Sharon, called strike 1 on the inner part of the plate. And we talked so much about the night Josh Mason's had. We've seen the home runs from Whisker, Lawson, as well as Dan Williams, but I am absolutely shocked from the stat line I've seen here from Dan Ward tonight. 0 for 3 with 2 flyouts to right and a strikeout. Now, Dan Ward, of course, we can't say his name enough. He leads the league with 32 hits coming into play tonight. He has been just dominant throughout the year. He's leading the Unicorns with a .323 batting average, 5 home runs, 20 RBIs on the year, and the 32 hits. I mean, he's a menace out there at the plate, but the Mammoths just have his number tonight.
And not only that, the contact that he has made, it's been far below average. I mean, from what we've seen of this guy, this is like Space Jam. The Monstars came and took Dan Ward's talent, and I don't know where he went, but he better figure it out and soon. But bear in mind, this is still Dan Ward we're talking about, and it's a one-run ball game.
Fights this 0-2 pitch off. It will get out of play. Not in fair territory, unfortunately, for the Unicorns. But that's the beauty of this young man. And, you know, Dan Ward leading the league with the 5 home runs, was in that category solo before Jalen Lawson had the home run in the 4th inning that tied Dan Ward for the league lead. But you got the lefty out there on the mound, not as difficult as a righty, but the 0-2 pitch, breaking ball, Ward fouls it off and stays alive at least for one more pitch.
I'll tell you something. You know, you mentioned he's over 3 right now. That doesn't mean anything if he goes yard right here, or if he, you know, puts a ball in play, gets on, and he, you know, scores a run with his feet. It won't mean anything. Look at Gene Segura. Gene Segura was struggling in the All-Star game yesterday.
3-run dinger.
Yeah. Well, ended up not really mattering, but.
And look at that. Dan Ward fouling off, just staying alive. And I can't believe I'm actually bringing this up right now, but in softball, right?
Mm-hmm.
I play softball every Tuesday night. I'm not the fastest of fleet, but.
Oh, man. Are you talking about your home run?
No, hold on. Give me a second.
Okay.
So, I mean, yes, but.
Oh, I knew it.
I ended up going 1 for 4 last night, but did have my first home run of the year. I was betting 780 going into.
Humble brag?
Yes. Oh, I'm not shying away whatsoever. Through the first couple of weeks, I wasn't doing so hot, but halfway through the softball season, I was batting, 6th, 7th in the lineup, but for the last about 4 to 5 weeks, I've always been up at the top of the leaderboard and had the first home run. And not only that, but I was rocking the Bryce Harper uni as well.
You know, Rich, I like to be a nice guy, but I just want to let you know that I don't think anyone else is keeping stats besides you. But on that same token, I hear the Unicorns have an opening.
Really?
Yes. I don't want to speak for them, but.
Ready at a moment's notice. Sharon, the 0-2, another breaking ball here to Ward, and he just continues to fight. This is now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pitches to Dan Ward. None of them have missed the zone. He's fouled off 4 of them, and Sharon not going away easily. As there's some catch being played in front of us from some fans in the grandstands and the suite level, but Ward looked as if he struck out right there. Instead, does in fact get enough of it. So now 7 pitches here in this at-bat. He continues to fight as he's, I'm assuming, will be his last at-bat of the evening, trying to stay alive in this at-bat. The 0-2 from Sharon. There it is. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Ward had a, count it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-game hitting streak coming into play tonight. I didn't want to bring it up to jinx him, but
you brought up everyone else's hitting streak except for this guy.
I didn't want to say it because I had a feeling, you expect him to get a hit every now and then, but Dan Ward, with that second strikeout of the night, if he doesn't get another plate appearance here, that 12-game hitting streak will end. And the only beauty of that, a new hitting streak will start probably tomorrow. Mentioned tomorrow, the Unicorns do not play tomorrow. They have games on Saturday and Sunday to round out the weekend. But tomorrow night, Thirsty Thursday, of course, presented by Dave & Buster's. It'll be these Mammoths once again facing off against the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers in a Western Division matchup as Conley looks at the first two pitches of the at-bat, both out of the zone, as Sharon trying to get a perfect 1-2-3 strikeout inning. But I mentioned how it's Thirsty Thursday tomorrow, presented by Dave & Buster's. Not only that, but get your Star Wars gear out and come on out to the ballpark. Star Wars night in full effect. So the combination of Thirsty Thursday and Star Wars night, you can't ask for much more than that.
Harry Potter night would be nice.
That would be
pretty
pretty
cool.
cool.
Don't we?
I believe we might have, and if not, we definitely could.
I was about to say I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. Not so much Star Wars. I love Harry Potter.
Fun fact, I've actually never seen a full Star Wars movie.
Same here. Nor do I want to.
So
But that doesn't mean people should not come to Star Wars night.
Count 2-2 on the batter, Conley, as Sharon fights back in this one. The count evening up at 2-2. Conley, a guy who gets on base more than he doesn't. He, like Ward, struggling so far tonight, 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts, and it looks like the night will not end up positive for Conley. The ground out to shortstop ends the top of the 8th, and we head to the home half. Mammoths take the 1-run lead to the plate. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the USPBL YouTube channel. Rich Borland, Leo Goldman with you. We're through 7.5 innings of play. New arm out on the mound for the Utica Unicorns. The day is done for Chris Dula. He goes the inning, strikes out 2 batters in the process. Also gets a line out to dead center to end the 7th inning, and he now gives way to the left-hander coming to us from Dumont, New Jersey, Mr. Michael Shamanico. Shamanico on the season with 15 relief appearances. How about this? 19 innings pitched, a 2.84 ERA. He's allowed 18 walks, but 41 strikeouts for the left-hander. He wheels, he deals, and he doesn't stop as he's got the 0-1 count to Cuddy.
And he's the type of guy that you can rely on to come in and kind of shut the door, and in this situation kind of keep the door closed. 13 of 15 appearances this year have been scoreless. He has all of his appearances except one with at least 1 strikeout. A 3-pitch arsenal, fastball, slider, and curveball. And, you know, if it wasn't for Dula, he would be one of the faster guys. But, you know, when you have a guy throwing 101, everybody else kind of pales in comparison.
Yeah, Shamanico definitely has some nasty stuff, and the fact that it's from the left side makes it that much more lethal. Cuddy on the night, 1 for 3 with a single, a fly out, and a ground out. Had the single in his last at-bat in the 6th. That started the 6th inning off. We'll see what he can do to start this 8th frame as the 2-1 pitch gets enough of the zone, called strike 2. And Shamanico looking to just widen that gap between the strikeouts and walks as he's got the count 2-2 on Cuddy. Infield, outfield at normal depths, unofficially set here at Jimmy John's Field. Lights are on. Wind not necessarily blowing in either direction far too much. It's back and forth, does the flag go. And the 2-2 pitch fouled off into the protective netting it goes. Cuddy stays alive.
You talked about him being from Dumont, New Jersey, correct? He's actually from not very far where The Sopranos is supposed to be set, one of the greatest TV shows of all time.
There you go.
I would ask him if he knows Tony Soprano, but I don't think I'd get a very serious answer from him.
Cuddy trying to stay alive in the count. It's 2-2. The pitch from Shamanico over hit to the right side of the infield where Dan Elliott makes the decision, holds on to it, and retires Cuddy all on his own. 1 up and 1 down. And it just goes to show how important this frame is. You got Shamanico out there. You're not in a save or setup situation. Your team's down by a run, but you have Carter Grote, who's been leading this league in hits. He's up there in doubles. Batting average top 5 in the league, most at-bats in the entire league. And then you got a guy like Dan Williams right behind him who's 2 for 3 on the night with a home run and a single. So the game is far from over from the Westside Woolly Mammoths perspective, and I don't see anybody warming up, and I wonder if it'll be Sharon or Gavin Collins that pitches this 9th inning for the Mammoths as Dundon stands in, looks at one. That one misses the zone, and then the 1-0 pitch, he swings right through, evens this count up.
And Shamanico has a very hard job that is very easy to mess up. You have to not allow a run in any capacity, despite the fact, I mean, it's not a safe situation, obviously. His team is losing.
As this ball hit hard over to the hot corner, Dan Ward, no hits tonight, but he's been busy as he makes that play. The 5-3 putout is recorded. 2 up and 2 down. Nice job from Shamanico to get some hard contact, but right at his infielders.
We see a lot of guys in the major leagues who struggle with coming in an unsafe situation. Shamanico is the de facto closer for the Unicorns. He's got 4 saves on the year. You bring in a guy who is not in a safe situation, but tell him, hey, we need you to not give up any runs here. It's a mental thing, and you know what? So far, I don't want to jinx him, but he's doing well so far.
Any inning you bring him out there, he's been dealing this year.
Yeah, I mean, 13 out of 15 appearances have been scoreless. I mean, I'm no math major, but I'm pretty sure that's pretty good.
Most indubitably is. Lawson on the night, that 1 for 3 days. He had that massive home run to lead off the 4th. And that, as of right now, is your game-winning run. So Lawson, your hero, if the game remains the same. He's quickly down in the count, 0-2 on Shamanico. And for a guy who's got plenty of strikeouts, none so far in this frame, Cuddy and Dundon making contact. There were 2 strikes against Cuddy, but only the 1 to Dundon. Lawson trying to stay alive in the count. Let's see if Shamanico brings him a strike. The long pause, the leg kick, the push. Fastball at 94 miles an hour. Misses high and away, and Lawson holds off on it, stays alive.
Like I said, if it wasn't for Dula, I mean, this guy would be one of the faster pitchers that we have here in the USPBL. You got a guy throwing 101. It's just unbelievable.
It's good stuff. Plenty of action here at the USPBL as we anxiously await player number 23 to be picked up by an affiliate, as this one swung on and missed, and Shamanico gets his strikeout in the home half of the 8th. We head to the top of the 9th. Unicorns will need a run to stay alive in this one. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. To the final frame we go. Rich Borland, Leo Goldman with you, and back out for his second inning of work, the left-hander, Mr. Joel Sharon. Sharon on the season has counted 0 innings, or outings, I should say, with more than 1 inning of work, so a first for the left-hander, and it's not an easy slate by any stretch. Carter Grote, Dan Williams, Austin Ledoux, your hitters to start off this ninth, and you can see Sharon, after that release on the 1-0 pitch, something did not look right, and umpire Mr. Rob Lothian's going to give him a second here, but keep an eye on that for Sharon. Not sure exactly what that was, but no movement from the third base dugout. So,
and as you mentioned to me, Clifton Landis III is up and getting loose in the pen, so bear in mind, it's a 1-run game. Every batter is the tying run when there's no runners on. So expect Landis to make an appearance if trouble does arise.
Sharon, the 1-1 to Grote. This ball popped up. It looks like it'll stay in the park. The question is, can Smith make the catch? And in fact, he does, ranging from the infield grass to that foul warning track. He makes the catch for out number 1. Not an easy out to retire Grote, but a nice job to get out number 1 for Sharon. That's the biggest out you need to start off this ninth.
That's a big first out, but now you got an even bigger out to get. Guy who's already gone yard once tonight.
Not only that, but in his last at bat, so hot as of late is the UT Tyler native. Dan Williams coming to us from the heart of Houston, Texas, home of the recent World Series champions, the Houston Astros.
Don't mention who's on there.
Justin Verlander.
Oh, okay.
Justin Verlander and Justin Verlander, but the count 1-0 to Williams. Sorry, Leo. This one fought off. Out of play it goes. Evens the count up at 1-1. And after that little scare from Sharon on the 1-0 pitch to Grote, he's fighting back in this one, and he looks like he hasn't skipped a beat.
Yeah, he looks completely fine out there. And, you know, as a pitcher, it always scares you when something is out of the ordinary. And it's good to see that he appears to be fine.
The 1-1 pitch hit on a line out to center field, but right under it is Ethan Whisker. Great piece of hitting there from Dan Williams. The unfortunate part for him, it was hit right to Whisker, and he barely had to make a step. 1 to his left, 1 in, and Williams is retired for out number 2. And just like that, Mr. Goldman, the Corns are down to their final out.
And it looks like it's going to be up to Austin Ledoux, and if he reaches, Jimmy Latona.
Austin Ledoux, the Hastings, Minnesota product, talked about his stellar stats at Grand Valley University, but the .238 average on the year, throw it out the window. Numbers do not matter in a situation like this. The only factor that matters is that clutch rating. Of course, we don't have that developed of stats, but Ledoux.
Soon. We'll have them soon.
Eventually.
Sabermetrics are on their way.
Ledoux on the night, 0 for 3 with 2 pop-outs to the shortstop, Jordan Thomas, and also struck out in his first plate appearance. You could say he's due. No better time to get a base knock than to put yourself on as the tying run. That 0-1 breaking ball, just 71 miles an hour, about as fast as my breaking ball was back in the day. But speed doesn't matter. It's all about the movement. And Sharon is working here as the Corns down to their final strike.
And we'll look to see if he'll try and waste one here.
0-2 pitch, no wasting being done. That one hung, was a little inside on the hands, so you could say that even though it was not dropped out of the strike zone, it was too far inside, and that was about the most that Ledoux could have done with it, unless he has hands like Miguel Cabrera where he could bring him in and extend him. As the count remains 0-2, the 0-2 pitch, fastball missing just low. Ledoux staying alive, and that was not an easy pitch to look at. Down to the final strike. That one missing just low, and coming out of that left hand from Sharon, looks like Shane McCaddy made the right decision instead of going to Landis or Collins, at least for now. Of course, game far from over as Ledoux gets something in his eye, so not only is he battling the final strike of the game, but now something in the eyeball, and you hope the vision's there, but the Unicorns trying to keep this one going. Mammoths looking to go 14-13, and in fact they will. Rung up on strike 3. Down goes Ledoux. and the Mammoths hold on to the 3-2 victory. Almost every run coming via the home run. We had home runs from Dan Williams, Jalen Lawson, and Ethan Whisker. Leo, your first broadcast here with the USPBL, coming to us from Bowling Green. How was the experience, my friend?
I'm with you. How could I be disappointed? No, it was a great game, and I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about the line from Josh Mason. I mean, this guy had a hard-fought game, and let me tell you something. Josh Mason earned that win. He went seven strong, solid innings, and as we hear the terrific banger of a theme song of the Woolly Mammoths whenever they get a victory, I mean, that was a really great outing from Josh Mason. We talked about the marquee matchup between Olagus and Mason from today, and you know what? Olagus, we shouldn't sell him short. He didn't do terrible. He did give up 3. He did only go 4 innings, but I'll tell you what, his longevity isn't there yet. They're 2 months away from the championship game. He does need to build it up if he wants to be able to pitch in the playoffs, but that being said, let's not take anything away from Josh Mason and the terrific outing that he had today.
Mason goes 7 innings, allows 2 earned runs on 4 hits, just the 1 walk to 5 strikeouts. And you mentioned Olagus not with a bad outing. It was just a couple of key situations. The 2 long balls from Whisker and Lawson, both solo shot variety. The double coming off the bat of Jordan Thomas after the leadoff walk to Jake Barbie in the 2nd inning. Just 4 mistakes. They get the 3 runs on just 4 hits. Olagus doesn't match up against Mason. Mason gets the advantage and moves on to 6-2 on the season. Olagus moving to 3-3, but overall the Mammoths moving a half game up of 500. They move to 14-13. We will have another matchup tomorrow. As I mentioned, it's Dave & Buster's Thirsty Thursday at the ballpark, as well as Star Wars night. Westside will coming up to the field tomorrow, and we'll look for their 2nd consecutive victory on the week. And then on Friday, it'll be our Metro PCS Fireworks Fridays, and also Turn the Park Pink, presented by Shades of Pink, breast cancer awareness. Saturday, live music Saturdays, 70s night with Boogie Dynamite, and then Sunday Fun Day on the 22nd. We will have the Corns again in their 2nd game of the weekend against the Beavers, your Sunday Fun Day in Legoland. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, give us a call, 248-601-2400. But for my partner, Leo Goldman, my name is Rich Borland. You stay classy, Utica.